Kirk Cousins to the Steelers rumors, Robert Woods signing, and Diontae Johnson reunites with Kenny Pickett. Big Deke news. We're only a couple days removed from the draft, and Aaron Rodgers still hasn't signed yet. And of course, because of that, we're starting to get some Kirk Cousins to the Steelers rumors.
Leaves Atlanta, where might he go? And I think if your good friend Aaron Rodgers does not go to Pittsburgh, I think that would be a possibility.
Exit strategy, you mentioned, and Dominique did it well, like Kirk Cousins. I'm sure there could be a deal to be had with Kirk Cousins if it ends up going that way.
Let's go back to...
Stop. Just stop. Please. Stop. It's a good thing Rodgers is signing then. Because Kirk Cousins is not going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. At least I'm 99% sure Rodgers is signing. I hope he's signing. Even if Rodgers doesn't sign, you got to go with Mason or even Will Howard. I don't care. At this point, that's where we're at, and that's what you got to lean into. With Kirk Cousins, you're wasting your time. The dude has one playoff win to his name. One playoff win. And he's robbed how many teams thus far of all that guaranteed money with only one playoff win. And that's even when he was in his prime. That's when even people thought Kirk Cousins was like borderline top 10. He never was borderline top 10. He never was there at all. He never was sniffing the elite quarterback stratosphere. But now he's 37, coming off that Achilles injury. Got worse as last year went on, to the point where he got benched for a rookie while the Falcons were still in the playoff hunt. Led the league in picks with 16 and didn't do anything to make up for those picks. Because it's one thing to have picks, turnovers, but, you know, if you're making up for it with 40 touchdowns, whatever it is, like Josh Allen, that's a different story. So the answer for Kirk Cousins being here should be a no. It would be an absolute misstep by the Steelers organization to bring him in, even if we don't have Aaron Rodgers here. But it's still looking like he is going to sign. It's just a matter of time. But if it's not Rodgers, you got to go with Mason. You got to see what he's got. And if it falls flat, then I think you're set up beautifully for 2026. Whether it's you just go with Will Howard, you draft a guy in the first round and you have him compete with Will Howard, whatever it is, at least you know you're resetting at the quarterback position. There's just no upside with Kirk Cousins at all. I like the guy. I'm sorry, but the football field stuff, the football field version of Kirk Cousins always leaves you wanting more. Good, but not good enough. There's at least, with Mason, a sliver of hope. There's some potential that maybe Mason can return to that 2023 version of himself, which was, I mean, Mason was playing like a top 10 quarterback those last 3 or 4 games of the 2023 season. So if that happens, we ain't stressing about the quarterback position next year. In fact, we're pulling up the receipts for all the people, all the mainstream media that was laughing at the reindeer, laughing at the Steelers for giving number 2 a chance in 2025. Because I think there are some people like myself that don't feel like the season's going to be a complete failure if we go in the Mason Rudolph direction. Just don't go with Kirk Cousins because, again, you're wasting your time. You know you're limited. You know you're going to be capped. You know Kirk Cousins is not going to get it done, especially now where he's at this point in his career. He's not even in his prime anymore. And when he was in his prime, he still couldn't get it done with good teams around him. But most likely, we're not going to have to worry about this at all because it's just going to be Aaron Rodgers, right? It's just going to be Aaron Rodgers. I'm pretty sure. If not him, it's Mason. Anyway, Steelers signed a receiver yesterday, Super Bowl champion, Robert Woods. He's got a name. We all know who Robert Woods is. We're familiar with him. We don't got to pull out the Snoop meme for this signing. He had a nice run with the Rams in his prime. Was probably, without the injuries, was a top 15, 20 receiver for a good 3-4 year stretch. But he's not that anymore. This feels way more like the Allen Robinson signing for the Steelers or when we picked up Cordarrelle Patterson last year. It's like, cool. At their peak, this would have been way nicer, but now it's like, I don't expect too much from Robert Woods seriously contributing to this offense at this point. Like, I just don't. He brings leadership, brings some of that veteran savvy to the wide receiver room. So that's nice. It's not going to hurt, but didn't we also say that when we signed Allen Robinson that, okay, he's going to be the adult in the room. He's going to be able to mentor Pickens. He's going to be able to set the tone and try to get these immaturity issues out of this locker room, out of this receiver room, and ultimately that really didn't happen. So how much does that stuff really factor into all this? At least you could say his experience, Robert Woods' experience, isn't going to hurt. Also, he's a decent blocking receiver. But if you look at his actual receiving stats, only 200 yards last year with the Texans, 0 touchdowns. He's going to be turning 33 this year, so his best days are behind him. I mean, I think we'll be lucky if he makes the roster that he gets the same production that he got last year, like 200 yards, 300 yards, maybe a couple touchdowns. Like, that would be good. That would be all we're looking for from Robert Woods. It's less about Robert Woods. It's just playing the role of being like our 5th receiver, because we got 4 guys with talent that are going to be ahead of him. DK Metcalf, Pickens, Roman Wilson, and Calvin Austin. Like, we're relying on those 4 guys to get us numbers, to get us production over Robert Woods. So whether it is Woods or Skoranek, Scotty Miller, like, I think that's all you're expecting from your 5th receiver anyway. 200-300 yards max, catch a ball for a first down, maybe catch a touchdown here or there, but that's about it. This is less about Robert Woods and more about just, are you going to be our 5th or 6th receiver? Are you going to beat out Scotty Miller or Ben Skoranek for a spot on this roster? Now, he has more pedigree, he has more cachet than the 2 receivers I just mentioned there, but I just think that's where we're at with Robert Woods. He's competing with the likes of Skoranek and Scotty Miller, so I don't have really high expectations. And the contract dictates that too. It's a 1-year deal for $2 million. So that's where we're at. Steelers must feel good about him to some degree to give him a spot on the squad, let him compete, have him in the building. He is a good blocking receiver, as I mentioned, and you know we love that here in Pittsburgh. For the final topic on today's show, we're sticking with the wide receiver position. Former Steeler, Diontae Johnson, signed with the Cleveland Browns. Man, make it make sense, because didn't Diontae complain about Kenny being the guy here again in 2024, which is ultimately what got him traded out of Pittsburgh? At least that's what the rumor was. But now we're only a year removed from that happening, and all of a sudden Kenny is the Browns quarterback, and Diontae is actually signing up to go to the team that Kenny is on. Wow.
You could not live with your own failure. Where did that bring you? Back to me.
Literally, I think Diontae's recent career can be summed up in when he catches a completion and it looks like it's going to be an easy first down, but then he ends up going backwards and it's not a first down. It's like he had everything good here in Pittsburgh. You were worst case a wide receiver too, but you had a starting role, a ton of snaps, ton of targets, at least 800-900 yards per season, no matter who the quarterback was. And then all of a sudden it just went down the tubes. Carolina trade. It gets worse with the Ravens trade. They don't play him. Then the Texans. And you're just like, how is this possible? How did we get here? Things were looking so good just a year ago. How did this go to shit? How did this all get messed up? Like when Diontae catches a completion, you're like 2-3 yards away from the first down. Just go forward. That's it. And we get the first down. But then, yeah, it just went by the wayside. But looking at where Diontae is right now, this Browns option, it's not bad for him. Because if a team was willing to sign him, I thought that was up for debate, whether or not Diontae was actually going to get a team to take a chance on him after how all of last season went. This is a pretty decent opportunity for Diontae with the Browns, because if you look at the receivers they have on their roster outside of Jerry Jeudy, it's no one. I think he should be slotted as their number 2 going into OTAs and the training camp and stuff. After last season, things were looking bleak for Diontae. I didn't know if anyone was going to give him a serious look, but now he, if he could stay chill here, if he could keep everything on the straight and narrow, he's got a good chance to reclaim like that wide receiver 2, like that starting role. But I'll tell you what, the Pro Football Reference jersey catalog for Diontae is just looking filthy right now. Just filthy. He was looking like with the Steelers, as I mentioned, he was on a path to be a one jersey, one helmet guy. Got the second contract. You did get some passive-aggressive stuff with him and, like, tweets and, a comment or two from the locker room. But he was a good receiver for us. The stats were there over the first 6 seasons. They're actually pretty comparable to a lot of other Steelers all-time receivers. But stats don't tell the whole story, particularly in regular season. It is also what you do in the playoffs and how you can elevate the team, elevate your game in big moments, all that type of stuff. And Diontae did fall short in those categories, but I just feel like it didn't have to go this way. It didn't have to go this way at all. He could have went down as potentially like a top 6 or 7, top 8 Steeler receiver in the franchise's history, at least just based off of stats. And who knows if he would have stuck around here with some of the changes we're making, if he would have gotten some playoff opportunities. But just, wasn't meant to be. Wasn't meant to be. But this is where we're at with Diontae on his, 5th team in the last year, a little bit over a year, being the Browns. Damn. But it is a good opportunity for him. I don't think his game just completely went to shit or anything over this time frame, because he was actually putting up some numbers with the Panthers once Andy Dalton became the starter. And then he got traded to the Ravens. They just couldn't find a role for him. And then same thing with the Texans. And, yeah, that's that. It's not like he's completely over the hill or anything, or at least he shouldn't be. It's just how he's handled, I guess, not getting what he wants, not getting the snaps he has wanted, not getting the role that he's wanted. That has been his downfall up to this point, not being completely team first. But now it's what you do going forward, and now he's with the Browns, and hopefully it doesn't work out for him because he's with the Browns. But just wanted to react to that signing, also our signing of Robert Woods, and the talks about Kirk Cousins coming to Pittsburgh. We had to lead off with that. But that's all for today's show. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments about the topics discussed. Stay chilling. Here we go, Steelers. Peace.